Hey Muffins, welcome back to channel. Subscriber request for the M41 Bulldog. Very capable, lovely tier 7 light tank. I do have a tips and tricks playlist, so if you're struggling with a tank, shoot over there. Hopefully there's a vid or aspect of the game vid that can help you out. So diving right into the M41. So this tank, being a light tank, number one, you have to understand its role. So with that role, you'll notice right here at the beginning, I'm trying to get myself in a position to help my team and myself with knowing where the enemy is. I'm trying to spot. Now, there's a little bit of lag I'm trying to fight between, but honestly, you guys get the concept of what's really going on here. Is you need to get in a position to spot, and not only in a position to spot, but where you can quickly spot and then quickly roll back to a safe place within cover. Now, even with this, I'm paying attention to the map. I'm looking to see where the enemy is. I'm looking to see where my team lineup is, and I notice my team is primarily in town. The enemies are kind of held back. Some of them are pushing up here. And so I need to get out as quick as possible and disengage to get back and kind of regroup with my group, and then look for another opportunity and evaluate the map to re-engage and look for those opportunities for distracted targets and then so forth. So I talk a lot about engaging, knowing when to engage and disengage. And that is a huge part of the Bulldog, because if, just like in that scenario, if I were to stay engaged, I would have got absolutely destroyed, just wasted, because there's way too many enemies there. They can outgun me. So I'm right now disengaging. I'm trying to get back to my team. I'm trying to regroup, give my time some thinking, a little bit in a safety zone, and then trying to reevaluate my next plan of attack or action before going back in and trying to help my team. So I noticed that most of them were detected over on this side, but from paying attention to the map, there was another tank we hadn't spotted yet, and it's this SU-100Y, which I figured he was over here by himself from paying attention to the map and where enemies were distracted. And so I wanted to take this opportunity, just like I was mentioning, this is a very opportunistic tank, to come over here and flank this SU-100Y. Now, he tried getting right up against a building, which was smart of him, but I wanted to make sure to position myself right behind him so that he couldn't back all the way up behind the building. And then this is where I'm using and utilizing my strengths and maximizing by exposing the SU-100Y's weakness. And that's really all Blitz is, because if you understand the characteristics of a tank, the tank will tell you how you should play it. And so the SU-100Y's strengths was obviously great cannon, penetration, but its weaknesses were no turret, like the traverse speed. It couldn't catch up, and so I was putting myself purposely in a position to maximize my strengths against that SU-100Y's weakness. So a lot of what the M41 is you can get a little bit too aggressive with this thing. It's quite easy with a tank that has a lot of mobility but no armor, because you can constantly be putting yourself in positions to get you in bad spots. But really, like I said, all you have to do and keep in mind is to understand and get the engage and disengage factor down. So number one, at the beginning of the game, you want to get to a position to spot. Number two, after you get to that position to spot, it's going to help give you information on where the enemy is. It's also going to give your team information on where the enemy is. And you can now make decisions based on where to go next. So a lot of a light tank, and what I do is tank counting. So you know there's a maximum of 7 enemies on the enemy team. So when I start detecting, I either know where they all are and I can make decisions accordingly on where to go next. And then if I don't, I start using deductive reasoning. It's like, okay, typically tank destroyers are over here and so forth. So a lot of it is understanding the map. So in this second replay, I'm once again trying to get to a position where I can spot. And I'm not tunnel visioning. You have to be very aware of your surroundings. And also with a tank that doesn't have a lot of armor, I keep forgetting there's this opening right here on the right-hand side, and I keep getting penned. But you constantly want to be utilizing the landscape to protect yourself. The landscape should be your armor. Your team should be kind of somewhat of your safety zone. Even though we all have teams that suck, you can still kind of use them as a way to engage and disengage. And so as you engage, you'll be getting along tanks' flanks, looking for those distracted targets, moving around. And then as the tanks start focusing on you, anytime that you're an enemy's focal point, you want to disengage. So if, like in the previous replay, or even right here, I'm going to be outgunned here, and I'm going to be their focus. And I need to disengage and kind of regroup, look for another area of safety, utilizing the landscape as my protection and so forth. So that's really what the M41 Bulldog is really all about. It is honestly a great tier 7. It's got good rate of fire, great maneuverability, but you can, like I had mentioned, get yourself in those difficult situations. So here I'm disengaging. I'm trying to utilize, once again, the landscape. I'm using the low points of the ground and the hills to try to protect myself as much as possible. So the other thing that I mentioned in some of my tips and tricks videos is before popping out or exposing myself, I try to use my third-person view as much as I can to look around corners, over hills, things of that sort, to see where enemies are paying attention. And then I kind of move out, and if they're not focusing on me, I'll take that opportunity to move out and take those shots. So it's a tank you so much have to be very alert with. Once again, I'm using this building to protect myself from this STRV, but to hopefully give me an advantage angle on this Panther. Now, that was not very good. I was trying to back up and get out of there as much as I can. I'm trying to use the low points, but I kind of miscalculate how high and low that is. But anyway, honestly, it's a tank. Once again, got a spot at the beginning. Pay attention to the map. Pay attention where your team is. Learn how to engage and disengage. Use your third-person view. The landscape is your armor. So hopefully these were some helpful points. This is the Muffin here. Stay cool and keep tanking.